Hey guys, it's Lisa and welcome to my channel. Today's video was inspired by a trip that I made to Marshall's, and I was pleasantly surprised with all the pretty napkins they had for fall. I usually find one or two and that's all, and I wasn't even there looking for those. I just happened to check while I was there, but they had such pretty napkins. So I'm going to do some tin can crafts with napkins. And the first idea that I have actually is not my idea at all. It is my friend Debbie's that was in the store one day, and she saw some tin cans that I had decorated, and she suggested this. So I'm going to make some of those. And so what she suggested was putting a napkin and your flatware in the cup, and using it as a place setting for your Thanksgiving dinner or even your Christmas dinner. But of course, I'm going to be doing fall napkins on these, so these will be with Thanksgiving in mind. So because I'm going to be decoupaging on these, I need a light color as a base, so I'm putting the color drop cloth on all of these. So I paint just one coat because they're going to be covered for the most part anyway, and also go back and paint the bottom. Now I spray painted the insides of these cans after I had already did my decoupage, actually after I'd already done my painting, not the decoupage, because I wanted the inside to look good since it will be showing at some point. But then I didn't like the color, and I end up going back and painting the color pine cone on the inside of these. And pine cone is a Dixie Belle color and not a spray paint, so I ended up having to hand paint down inside these. The good thing about that is it doesn't have to be perfect because you're not really going to see in there well. You just need to it just needs to look like it's covered. So I base coated all of these and let them dry. At this point I haven't spray painted the inside. But now I'm going to show you all the beautiful napkins that are new at Marshall's this year. And this one is probably my favorite, I guess because it's not limited to fall, but I love these warm colors, and I think they work really well for fall. And then this one was a good neutral pumpkin decor, or pumpkin napkin rather. And as you can see, these small ones are $2.99 a pack, which is absolutely awesome. But then these larger packs are $4.99. But I just love all of these. I think that they will all work really well for fall. And what I'm going to do on these, you could actually have all these matching, but I'm going to do an assortment. And I think that would be really pretty at your Thanksgiving meal, is just to have an assortment of these. Of course, if you like to match everything with your decor, then you could just find a napkin that goes with your decor and do them all in that. But all of these napkins are 3-ply, so you have to remove 2 plies. Some of them, for some reason, when I opened the pack, the back ply just came immediately off, so I'm not sure what's going on with that, but it works out good for decoupage. Now, I'm just going to use Elmer's glue, watered down slightly, as my decoupage medium on these because that's going to work just fine with these. I hope that most of you have a Marshall's nearby because I felt like this was a really good deal. So what I'm going to do for this whole set of 3, obviously I'm going to need to make a lot more of these, but what I'm going to do for these is decoupage the smaller napkin on each one of them. And I'm just kind of giving you guys an example of what you could do, but again, you can make several of them. And I'm just going to cover each of these cans. And it's so easy to decoupage napkins on tin cans. and it's a good way to recycle and not have to worry about putting so much into the landfills or even having to go to the to recycle them. Just save your cans, and there's so many things that you can use them for, but obviously this is a way that you can use up several of them. You could even make sets for other family members that are having their own dinner. Now, when I decoupage around these, where it meets together, I like to just kind of tear that edge and give it more of an organic look, because where your two straight edges meet, it just won't be a natural look. So I like to kind of wet that end and just remove that straight edge. And then with the other, I just kind of blend it in together. It's not going to be a perfect match, but you're not going to notice that. So once I get all of these covered, then here I've already spray painted the inside. And again, at some point I go back with the color pine cone. I just felt like that was a better look for the inside. But I'm using some cardstock here that I have coffee stained and antiqued around the edges. And then, which wasn't completely necessary except on the other side, because I ended up covering it with some of the leftover napkin that I had cut out. And I thought that was a good way to make it go with the can. So that's going to be on the background. And then I'm going to take some old book page that doesn't have any print on it and tear out a little rectangle for the center of it that I can antique around and use that to write the name. And obviously the ones that I'm going to be selling will be blank, and then whoever purchases them can just write in the names. But just for an example, I'm going to put my daughter's name on this one. But again, I antiqued around the edges before I glued that on, and then I just punch a hole in it and use some twine, and that's how I will attach this. Now I'm going to use a very long piece of jute twine, because I'm going to wrap it around the can a few times and then tie it in the front. But I also want to dress these cans up some more. Obviously, just decoupage on the can is not enough to make it nice enough to sell. So I'm just taking some of the trim, the jute trim that you get from the Dollar Tree, or that I get from the Dollar Tree. And I like to have a lot of it on hand when I go. I always try to pick up plenty because it works out really good for trim. But I forgot to mention that I end up doing the crackle finish on this. I told you guys I would be crackling everything. But I have already put some of the tacky glue that I had watered down over the can, and then I let that dry, and here I'm putting the polyacrylic over the top of that, and that's how you get the crackle finish. So I just let this dry, and then I go over it with some, once it's dry well, I go over it with some Dixie dirt on a damp cloth, and that's what brings out all the cracks. But again, I've already put the tacky glue on these that I added just a little bit of water to thin it down. And then I let that dry, and now I'm putting on the second step, which is the polyacrylic. Now I'm sure, I haven't tried it, but I'm sure you could use any clear coat over this that you brush on. I wouldn't use a spray-on clear coat. I don't think that would work. But you could use any kind of clear coat, I think, on this. I do recommend the tacky glue because I've tried other types of glue, and my friend Tess showed me how to do it with the tacky glue, and I had a lot better. Well, actually, my way didn't work at all, but the tacky glue works really well. So here I'm using that jute trim around both the top and the bottom of these. And I felt like that was a real good look for fall and would finish these off really nicely. So I glued this around the top and the bottom with some hot glue. And then once I get that done on all of these, then I'm going to add the tags. And so with each of these, I used the cardstock that I had coffee stained. And then I decoupaged some of the same napkin over the front of that. And then I tore the book page into a rectangle and put over the top of that after I antiqued around the edges. And that's how I did all these tags. So I matched each tag with the can. Now, although I didn't use it here, I think these would be perfect for a set of plastic flatware and then the matching napkin. Again, this was my friend Debbie's idea, and I think it was a great idea. Now, I didn't mention, but these were soup cans. That was the size that I used here. Now, I'm not sure what size cans these are, but these are a little taller. So these might work better for if you're going to use the real flatware. And I'm going to use the larger napkins on these. And I also finished these off with a crackle finish and the same jute trim that I used on the others. And I also added a name tag to these as well. I did them the same way that I did the smaller cans. Now this is a larger can that I did, and I'm just going to use it to put some floral in. And I put two of the images, one on the front and the one on the back of this, and then I figured for the white area that would give me some space for my to do some stenciling and give it some extra character. So I had this stencil that says Farm Fresh Sunflowers, and I stenciled that on, and then I did some stamping on it just to kind of add some extra character. But instead of using the jute trim on this one, I just took some tea towel that I had coffee stained and ripped into strips. And that's what I used for the trim on both the top and the bottom. I'm sorry I'm out of frame here, but I just have a little strip of that torn tea towel that I am attaching to the bottom and to the top. And although I'm just going to use this to put some floral in, I felt like it needed a hang tag. So I used some of that same cardstock that I coffee stained and antiqued around the edges. And now I'm just going to tear that one little sunflower image off. And it's not even a whole sunflower, but I'm just going to kind of glue it to the side on this and use some of the script stamping to kind of bring this look together. So I have one more can that I'm going to do, and it's a larger can, but it's shorter. So I'm going to decoupage one of the napkins on it as well. And I've already done that here, and it's all dry. And I had this candlestick in my stash that was already painted black. And so I'm going to use that to glue this on. In hindsight, I should have painted it first, because what I'm going to be doing is painting this in the color drop cloth and then wet distressing quite a bit of that black through. And then I finished that off with some brown glaze, the Van Dyke brown glaze, and then I just glued this to the top with some hot glue and also some wood glue for permanent hold. And then I found some vintage rickrack that I put around for trim on this. I really like how this one turned out. So these have just been some very simple ideas to use your tin cans for. Again, I just absolutely love the idea of the place settings. Now I have some hang tags to show today, and they are from Monica from the Netherlands. And Monica had to package each one of them individually because of the shipping there. Now this first one is my favorite. I love the bag that she used, and it's kind of wadded up, crinkled all up, and I love the print on it. I'm not sure how she got that, but I absolutely love it, and I love the bobbins that she put inside. And the back is just as beautiful. Again, I don't know how she got that finish, but it's just beautiful. Now the second one, this is an oversized one, and it's a candle, and I think it's done in fabric, and then she put a more sheer fabric over the top of that, and I think it's just gorgeous. And then she finished the back off, and this is really pretty also. She actually did some stitching on that. And then she did a couple of angels, and here is the first one. And I love how she did the skirt on the bottom. And then the second one, I love these colors. But she did such a great job on these. And then this is the last one. And this is another oversized one. And I just love how she did the tree with the fake stitching and her rosettes on the bottom. And then this angel on the back. I really like the watercolor that she used on this. It's just beautiful. I'm so thankful for you sending these. I know it was a lot of trouble, Monica, but I appreciate it so much. And I appreciate all of you sending in those Christmas hang tags. That tree is going to be absolutely beautiful. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great evening, and God bless you and your family.